have to play to win.
For the love of God and country.
Ignorance is bliss.
You can't take it with you.
Good night.
What's your emergency?
Welcome to Aspire. I want to talk to you about in this segment, in this program, what you've resigned your life to. In other words, what you gave it over to and how you're kind of living it in that resignation. A lot of people think in terms of their life as the outward stuff. It's all about what they can get, what they can have, who loves them, who doesn't love them, what popular opinion is about them, social opinion. Personally, I could give a darn about it, but most people really believe in that as the meaning of their life. So I'd like to pose a question to you. Where did your life end? What'd you resign your whole life to? And what are you kind of going towards in your life? I would bet you to say that most of you aren't thinking about anything in regard to the essence of your spirituality, the love that lives in you, the compassion, the beauty. I think you're probably looking for all the gratifications you can have, and you're probably, if you're like most people in this country, the something for nothing type of person. In other words, you wouldn't give anything for nothing. You want something back for everything you give, for everything you do, and every word is placed strategically in a way which allows you to receive something, and your whole life is about getting what you want. What if life was not about getting what you wanted? What if I told you that you gave up your life a long time ago when you decided that life had to give you something? Did your parents ever bring you up with the idea, what is life all about? What are you going to get out of life? What do you want life to give you? Isn't that kind of a strange way in which we live? It's very popular. Most people never question it. Maybe the question is, what am I going to give to life? And how's that going to come back to me? And how am I going to live in that interchange of life, giving and receiving? Because life is a big round circle. And it's all about how it meshes into a oneness, into a wholeness that most of us tend to forget. We resign our lives. We kind of give up. I watch people. They'll start off, in grade school, and they'll do pretty well. And all of a sudden, the social thing clamps down on them. And they find out that people don't accept them like they want to be accepted, or they're not getting the affection that they never got when they were a child. And all of a sudden, everything they do is to get the accolades of other people. And then their life stops, literally stops. And the only thing they're looking for is what they can get from other people, get for their efforts. Nobody's thinking about what they can give to this life. What if I told you there is a life that exceeds the way you and I are living? What if I told you that there is a life that is greater than our concept of living? And what if I told you it's not about how long you live, it's about the way you live from within yourself? Would you believe me? Probably not. Because you don't believe in your withinness. Most people know they're pretty shallow. Most people know they're not very kind. And most people know they're a do-over, as we call it in the work. In other words, they're going to have to do it over and over and over again this life until they finally come to a place where they can appreciate the sacredness of life, the bounty of merciful living. Merciful living is not something that many people strive for. We pride ourselves on our cruelty, on our vanity, on our anger. We like being angry people. Oh, I'll get them if they do that, and I won't let that happen to me, and they can't get away with that in my life. I have the right to, that kind of living. And that's where most people live, in a kind of subtle cruelty that is never questioned, and it's always some kind of enhancement for us, like we're privileged people, like we have the right. But I'm saying to you is that's where our life stops. And that's where we gave up our life. When we came to the concept that life was supposed to give us something, and in return, we give nothing back unless something is given to us that is better than what we are getting. It's really sad. It's really pathetic. And it's the way most of us live unconsciously. And that's why our lives stop. Do you ever sit there and wonder, what am I doing? What's this all about? You work day in, day out. You do all the things you do, raising your kids, even making kids. Do you ever know why you do? I've heard some real horror stories from young women who say, well, I want to have a baby. And I'll ask them, well, why? Well, because, you know, that's what women do. They make babies. And I go, what if there was something outside the baby thing? What if there was creativity? Maybe you're there to teach. Maybe you're there to help other children. Oh, no, no, no. It's got to be babies. And they drive their whole life for this. I was shuddering. I was sitting in traffic the other day with people all around me listening to Dr. Dean Adele on the radio talking about fertility clinics, like we need them. Forgive me for being a little political here, but it seems ridiculous to me to live our life for the things that our biology dictates when our consciousness is so much stronger. It's so much more beautiful. And to be honest with you, it advances us in our life in a way that is far more meaningful that most people simply forget. The unexamined life, as Socrates said, isn't a life worth living. And maybe we should reconsider what we call important. So when you get down to the nitty-gritty of your life, what is the meaning of your life? What are you doing here on this planet? What is your life all about? You got to come up with answers, people tell you. Oh boy, it's always amazing. Have you ever thought that you're not a product of your heart and your soul? You're a product of other people's opinions about what the meaning of your life should be, and you've never questioned outside the box what you are. You've always thought, well, I should be this and I should be that. I should be responsible. I should have this. I shouldn't have that. I should have all of this. This is what I deserve. And you call that macaroni. You call that a life? People try to carve out lives out of assumptions, presumptions, opinions, beliefs. And there's always someone who's willing to take your money to tell you who you ought to be and the way you ought to be. Very few people can feel their life for themselves. So let's go back to our original thing. What is it that makes your life meaningful? Why are you here? Most people are here because they're here. They don't know what else to do with themselves. So they go out into life and they try to sail the seas. We thought we'd come down here to Santa Cruz and come to the harbor and use the boat as a way of showing you, as a metaphor, how we move out into the seas of our own existence, into the mystery of our own existence. What does it mean to live? Does it mean that it's the accumulation of every experience that you can ever have and compiling it and packing it in and making it seem like it's real? Is that what it is? For a lot of people, that's what it is. For a lot of people, they get fed up and angry and mean and cruel. I've had people come and try to learn meditation from me, the practice, but they're too cruel to do it. They're so angry, they're so fearful, they're so hostile. They don't want to believe they are, and they have it all justified and rationalized as to why they are the way they are. They never make any progress. I mean, so what you're angry? So what you're mean? So what that you're fearful? What's changed? You know, people kind of blend into the crowd after a while, don't they? You just kind of blend in with all the people that are around you, all the people that kind of exist, and pretty soon it's just easy to go into the collective unconscious and just live in the collective unconscious of humanity and kind of recede down into it, and you negate your life. Everybody's life is special. Everybody has a unique purpose for being alive. Everybody is a blessing in their own way. We forget it. From the simplest moments in our life to the most gigantic, it's all about, can I be simple enough to be able to listen to my life and not try to make it anything less than what it is or anything more than what it is. In other words, it doesn't have to perform for me to get my attention, to make me esteem myself. You hear a lot about low self-esteem, low self-image, and all that other stuff. And like I say, there's always some guy out there willing to tell you how you should feel about yourself. But I say life is about being authentic. And kind of in the beginning of our authenticity, we have to look deep inside of ourselves and kind of find out, who am I? Who am I really? Not what do I want to be, not what do I believe I should be, but really, who am I? And is who am I, once I find that out, not so beautiful that we just can't talk about it, we just gotta live it? It's like a boat going out into the ocean. You never know what it's going to find. Sometimes it finds rough seas. Sometimes it finds out that there is a sunset or a sunrise that is beautiful. Sometimes it's placid. Sometimes it's just exquisite, and other times it's difficult. That's life. That's life. And to try to change it or to control it or to make it be whatever it is that it can't be is not the purpose. It is about finding your authentic self. And that authentic self has nothing to do with ego, vanity, pride, and personality. It is really, my dear one, to find yourself as love. There is a life that is out there in you somewhere in the ocean of your own existence that exceeds the living that you are going through right now. And when you are willing to find the life that exceeds the way you live on the inside, you begin to find a life worth living. It's a life where we are not competing, rubbing up against other people, trying to create enough friction so we get what we want. It's about yielding. What is it that Lao Tzu said in the Tao Te Ching? To yield and overcome. Wow, what a simple term, to yield and overcome. And maybe that's the real secret of life, to be so humble that we find the life worth living within us.
The most important thing is to not fault myself for my humanity. It's living without wanting what I think I need or needing what I think I want, but rather living open-handedly with gratitude and let come what will, and just accept it and enjoy it and trust that I'll be all right.
You know, every so often you look at the newspaper and what for? It's all the same stuff. And then you have the obituaries, hey? Where everybody died in alphabetical order, which I find kind of interesting. And they all get a picture, and it's kind of sad. They give a history of them, you know, probably 1, 2, 3 paragraphs. Some people get more. I guess they pay more for their more paragraphs. And you look at it and you read that. Who reads this? Really? Do you? I don't. But, you know, it's all kind of the same when you read a little bit of it. They're all the same. And somebody else wrote it. It's somebody else's interpretation of the meaning of these people's lives. It's not really their life. And so you have the day they were born and the day they died, and in between there's, you know, that little slash. That slash is kind of their life. And that's kind of the way it is with people. It's that little slash in between that denotes a human being's life. So let me ask you something. What are you doing with the slash in your life? How many paragraphs could we write about you? Would I read the paragraphs about your life and have my breath restored to me or taken away from me? It's kind of interesting. What did you do with this experience? What are you doing with it? You ever look at it and go, what the heck is this all about? Going from day to day to day, just every day, a little bit more, taking off the calendar, ripping it off and throwing it away. Another day down the tubes, and you look at the new day and think, today I'll get what I want. Today I'll go out there and conquer the world. Today will be better than yesterday. Really? Do you think so? You ever watch it declining? A lot of people blame age for that, but I don't. I blame apathy. I think we're a very apathetic society. And there comes a time when we just cave into the apathy. We look around us and we don't get it. Our religion doesn't really support it too much. Our politics certainly don't. Our personal beliefs, every so often you just kind of cave and you go, you know, all this stuff is for what? And that's what people do, and they just go on living until the day they drop. I have a neighbor, his name is John. I love John very much. He's very elderly, and he's very thin. He's about that big around at the thickest point. And he walks up this long hill where I live every day. And sometimes when I'm running errands, I see him and I stop and talk to him. I wrote about it in an update many moons ago. I asked him, you know, how you doing, John? Oh, you know, he said, oh, I wouldn't wish old age on anybody. And I said, well, what are you doing with your life? And he said, you know, that's a good question. He said, if you asked me that 20 years ago, I would have had an answer for you. But now, I don't know. He said, I don't even know why I'm still alive. I just walk up and down this hill all day and try to get up and down, find a meaning to my life. I said, well, what was the most meaningful part of your life? And he started laughing. He said, I've forgotten more of my life than I can remember, so I can't tell you. And that's the way people are. They totally forget their life. They don't even know what it's about. So they get into religion, and religion tells them this is what your life is about, this is what you ought to be doing, you need to believe in this, you need to believe in that. Really? So you get all jacked up believing in this and believing in that. Before you know it, you have a lot of beliefs, but again, your life is passing by. You know, belief is like blinders. You don't get to experience your life when your life gets very narrow, your mind gets very narrow because your beliefs are very narrow. And then you wonder, what am I doing here? A life worth living. What does it mean? Well, it's partly about being generous, grateful, kind, merciful, forgiving, compassionate, playful, to be able to laugh at a moment that is truly funny, to cry in a moment that is truly sad, and to be in moments that don't really require anything but focus and concentration. That's what I want you to kind of feel inside yourself. I don't want you to go thinking in terms of what a life worth living is and what you should be doing and what you shouldn't be doing and what you should believe in. I don't want you to go there. I want you to have a meaning in your life that you find for yourself. Not anyone else, but just for yourself. And maybe you'll find it through meditation. Maybe you'll find it through just a little accident. Maybe slipping on a banana peel inside yourself and you slip right into the meaning of your life. And there you are. Oh my God, this is so beautiful. It happens. It happens to people where they really start to understand that the nature of their life has nothing to do with the concepts they have. To live beyond the life you're living, to have a life that is beyond the lifestyle you have come to believe is the only lifestyle you can have. Explore outside of that. Find out who you are, because the meaning of life is contained in who you are. And that, my friend, is a life worth living. Did you know that there is a life within you that exceeds the way you live your life? Sounds crazy, doesn't it? But it's true. And for those of you who are very creative and playful, you kind of know this creativity in this life because it starts coming out of you and you start wondering where it all came from, and then you just drop where it came from. You just flow with it. That's the meaning of life. That's a life worth living, where there's no Gregory Penn and there's no you or me to have to deal with. You know, when Jesus talked about that we have to diminish so the life can increase through us, he was talking about that there is a life that is far greater than the way we choose to live our life. And maybe that is something you can play with during this week. Try to find the life in you, the meaning of your life, the playfulness. It's not something, you know, profound and low eyebrow thing, very serious. It's about being playful. It's about being lighthearted. It's about being kind and generous with yourself and with others. And then learn to follow that. Make it a lifestyle. Don't be worried about what other people think of you. Hey, remember, nobody likes you anyway. So no matter what you say or do, there's always going to be someone there saying, well, how can they feel that way? Or how can they live like that? Live dancing on the top of the water. Float. Be kind. Be beautiful. Be daring enough to be beautiful in the face of everybody else's criticism. That's the meaning of life, and you'll exceed your own living by finding the life that lives within you. I am humbled and grateful for those of you who email me, who call, who make comments about the program. I'm very, very grateful for your sweetness. I do everything I can to make these programs possible, and I want to thank you for your attention and for the time you give me. Please forgive me. Namaste. Master Tao, Through your great wisdom, could you show me the place of perfect peace? If I show it to you, it will no longer be peaceful. Please teach me. Your personality is often an insurmountable speed bump on the path to nirvana. I don't think you know how to learn. Master, can you teach me how to learn? Can you allow me to teach? You need to empty your mind of all thought. You know, all this emptiness is getting kind of heavy. I did something rather interesting. Jackie, what was that?
You had trucks backing up, you had sirens, you had airplanes.
You gonna be able to live with that?
Lots of background stuff.
Ask not what your background can do for you. Ask what you can do for your background. Your mama don't dance, your daddy don't rock and roll.
Go.
Get the accolades. Get the
accolades.
Get the Ow! 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 Get the accolades of other. No. What did I say? Ow! Accolades. He's abusing me. Get the accolades of other people. Get the accolades of other people. Ay, vey, Tijuana Mexicana.